The day I found out my wife, Clara, was cheating was the day my world shattered, but it was also the day my eyes were finally opened. It all started with a misplaced phone. Her phone, a message notification lit up the screen. A name I didn't recognize, with a heart emoji next to it. "Can't wait for tonight, my love." My heart pounded in my chest. I couldn't resist. Primera opened, Italiano. What I found was a rabbit hole of deceit that went deeper than I could have ever imagined. The messages weren't just with one person. They were with Mark, my business partner, and a man I called my best friend. My mind raced, replaying years of memories. Every late night Mark supposedly spent working at the office. Every girls' night out Clara had. It all clicked into place. A horrifying puzzle of lies. The initial shock was like a physical blow, leaving me breathless and numb. I felt a volcanic rage bubbling up, but I pushed it down. I wouldn't be the hysterical, heartbroken husband. No, I would be cold, calculated. They had played me for a fool, and now it was my turn to play the game. The first step was gathering evidence. I wasn't going to make a single move without an airtight case. I installed discreet monitoring software on our home computers and activated a voice recorder in my car, the one Clara often borrowed. I acted completely normal around them. I'd kiss Clara goodbye in the morning and shake Mark's hand at the office, all while my stomach churned with disgust. The mask I wore was heavy, but necessary. Every smile was a lie, every touch a performance. I was an actor in the final act of my own tragedy, and I was determined to direct the ending. The evidence piled up quickly. Voicemails, emails, hotel receipts. They weren't even trying to be careful. They were arrogant, so sure of my ignorance. Their conversations were sickening. They mocked me, my trust, my work ethic. Mark was feeding Clara inside information about our company, planning to use it to start his own rival firm, with my clients and my ideas. My betrayal wasn't just personal. It was a full-blown corporate espionage plot orchestrated by the two people I trusted most in the world. They weren't just stealing my wife. They were trying to steal my life's work. This revelation changed everything. My plan for revenge grew bigger, more intricate. It wasn't just about exposing an affair anymore. It was about dismantling the entire web of treachery they had spun around me. I needed to protect my company, my legacy, everything I had built from the ground up. I started documenting every piece of proprietary information Mark leaked. I cross-referenced dates, times, and specific details from their conversations with our company's records. I was building a fortress of facts, brick by meticulous brick, while gathering evidence on Mark. I noticed another name popping up in their communications. David, my own cousin. He worked in our finance department. It turned out he was cooking the books, skimming money off the top, and funneling it into an offshore account that Mark had set up. My own flesh and blood. The betrayal cut even deeper. He was helping them finance their new venture with my money. My family was in on it. I remembered all the times David had complained about being underpaid, all the loans he'd asked for. It was all a charade. My revenge now had 3 targets. Clara, the unfaithful wife. Mark, the treacherous partner. And David, the backstabbing cousin. I decided to take them down one by one, starting with the weakest link. David. I called an emergency audit, a standard procedure I initiated every couple of years, so it wouldn't raise suspicion. But this time I hired a new, ruthless forensic accounting firm and gave them a very specific area to focus on, without revealing why. I told them I suspected minor irregularities and wanted to tighten things up. The accountants found the discrepancies within a week. The paper trail led directly to David. The numbers didn't lie. I called a private meeting with him and my lawyer. I laid the evidence out on the table. The falsified invoices, the transfer records, the offshore account details. The color drained from David's face. He started sweating, stammering, trying to deny it. I just looked at him, my expression unreadable. I gave him a choice. Come clean about the entire scheme, including Mark's involvement, and sign a full confession in exchange for me not pressing immediate criminal charges, or I would hand everything over to the authorities that afternoon. Crumble. He confessed everything, detailing Mark's master plan from start to finish. I had my first victory. Next up was Mark. The annual shareholders meeting was just 2 weeks away. It was the perfect stage for the main event. In the days leading up to it, I played the part of the oblivious friend. I even asked Mark for his advice on the presentation, letting him believe he had me completely fooled. He was smug, condescending, telling me to keep it simple and focus on past successes, all while he was planning to poach our biggest clients right after the meeting. The day of the meeting arrived. The conference room was packed with our investors, stakeholders, and the entire senior management team. I started my presentation as planned, talking about our yearly growth. Then I paused. I looked directly at Mark, who was sitting in the front row, a confident smirk on his face. "But," I said, my voice dropping, "success often attracts predators, sometimes from the outside, and sometimes from within." I clicked to the next slide. It wasn't a financial chart. It was a picture of Mark and Clara kissing on a hotel balcony. A collective gasp filled the room. I didn't stop there. The next slide was an excerpt from an email where Mark detailed his plan to steal our client list. Click. A transcript of a recorded call with Mark and David discussing how to hide the embezzled funds. Click. Bank statements from the offshore account. Click. David's signed confession. I laid out the entire conspiracy, piece by piece, with undeniable proof. Mark's face went from shock to panic to pure rage. He tried to stand up, to protest, but security was already by his side. I ended my presentation by announcing that Mark was terminated effective immediately, and that our legal team would be pursuing all available civil and criminal actions against him and his accomplice. David, the room erupted in a mixture of applause and shocked murmurs. I had cut the head off the snake in front of everyone. Finally, it was time for Clara. I went home that evening. She was there, oblivious, asking me how the meeting went. I didn't say a word. I just walked over to the coffee table and placed a single manila envelope on it. Inside were divorce papers, along with copies of the most incriminating photos of her and Mark. Her face went pale as she looked through them. "How could you?" she whispered, tears welling in her eyes. I almost laughed. How could I? "Clara, you and Mark didn't just have an affair. You conspired to ruin me, to steal everything I've ever worked for. You kid me. You lied to me every single day for years." She tried to explain, to apologize, but her words were empty. The trust was not just broken, it had been pulverized. I told her to pack a bag and get out. The house was in my name. Her credit cards, which were tied to my account, had already been canceled. She had nothing. She had thrown away a life of comfort and love for a fantasy with a man who was now facing financial ruin and potential jail time. Her betrayal had left her with absolutely nothing. As she walked out the door, there was no sadness in me, only a profound sense of relief. The poison was finally out of my life. In the months that followed, I rebuilt. I restructured the company, promoting loyal employees who had been overlooked. Our clients, seeing the decisive action I took, rallied around me with even more loyalty. The business thrived like never before. The legal battles were long, but with the mountain of evidence I had, the outcome was never in doubt. Mark and David faced severe financial penalties and legal consequences, their reputations permanently destroyed. As for me, I found peace. The experience, as painful as it was, taught me a valuable lesson about trust, resilience, and the importance of protecting what you build. It forced me to see the snakes in my garden, and it gave me the strength to remove them, root and stem. Sometimes, the worst betrayals can lead to the greatest rebirths. I walked away not as a victim, but as a survivor who had reclaimed his life, his business, and his future. It was a brutal, painful process, but in the end, I was free. Thank you for listening to my story. If you found this compelling, please like this video and subscribe for more content.